Okay, so as we were discussing Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, the last question. See here. Now, cultural relativism, human rights and cultural relativism. So, as I told you, it is a coincidence. You can overlap the things which we saw in the previous question. But here you have to elaborate a little bit on what is cultural relativism, what is human rights. But here you should add more. I will tell you how to add more. So the topic is cultural relativism and human rights, both is there. Okay, both should be given ample amount of importance. You should not skip any of the topics. So cultural relativism and human rights, what are they talking about? You should first know what is cultural relativism. In the previous question also, we discussed what is cultural relativism. Frank Boas, as you would be very much aware of this topic, Frank gave something called as historical particularism. Historical particularism, what does this mean? You have to understand that the previous movement for this historical particularism movement, which came about in 1910s, something around here. What was the previous movement? You should know that the previous movement was classical evolutionists. What is this classical evolutionists say? That a particular culture will move from a savage or a very low form of cultural development to a higher form of development, and each country or each continent is in a separate space of cultural evolution, is what they say. But this gave rise to something called as the next part B 5A. You will see that racism, that is racism and eugenics, all are connected, because this movement actually gave rise to a superiority, European cultural superiority. For example, in the reason what Britishers used for colonizing India was white man's burden. What is this white man's burden and all? If you see, this is nothing but a feeling of superiority. They felt, the European centric scientists felt that classical evolutionists, or they you can include them, they felt that their own center is the most civilized, the other civilization are not that developed, and hence it was their burden to improve that. To counter this movement only, Frank Boas came to something called as historical particularism. He said the differences in culture is not different stages of a linear cultural evolution, rather the differences are due to historical particular, that is their own particular reasons. Their own particular reasons should be reasons for development, reasons for problems, how they solved those problems, and that gave rise to uniqueness in culture. Uniqueness in culture, what you can define as uniqueness in culture is a relative. You can say that cultures are relative. That is the takeaway from defining a culture as unique. When you define some culture as unique, it means that you are seeing cultures in a relative fashion, and that gave rise to something called as cultural relativism. This is the history of the cultural relativism, and this is what you have to write as well. So this is two, as I said, it has two parts. This question has two parts. One part, now you have to come to terms with that first page. This is the first page, and then the second page. It's a 10-mark question. So how to write this question? So first is cultural relativism. So definition. Quote, you can use definition by Frank Boas, saying that a particular culture differs. It is not a linear evolution, rather each culture differs and has importance of its own, and hence this definition you said. And then this is first point. Second point, you should say people are involved in the movement. That is, people involved in the movement of this cultural relativism, where you will talk about Bose, Frank Bose, but you should also talk about Margaret Mead and Ruth Benedict, because Margaret Mead and Ruth Benedict, if you were aware, Frank Bose's students was Ruth Benedict, and Margaret Mead was Ruth Benedict's student. So all contributed some to this cultural relativism, and Ruth Benedict would have talked about three villages, and each village having a separate, or three villages very centered around a particular space. But Arapesh, the names of the village, please do check. But Arapesh was one village, and what she would have said was each village differs, and how in a one particular village people are differing in such a manner means that is defined by their culture. So each culture is not defined by geography or anything, rather it is defined by the history they have gone through. So the history and the changes and the problems they have gone through have given rise to a particular unique set of solutions which have given rise to cultural systems in them. And that is the second thing you have to write. So cultural relativism, you should not stick only with Frank Boas, you should also write about Margaret Mead. Third, if that is what this Arapesh, this thing, the Arapesh and everything, if you are not aware of that, you can actually go with that thing, chrysanthemum and sword. You can use this example where Ruth Benedict talks about the culture of Japan, how they are from a children, they are grown as like a flower, chrysanthemum flower, but when they grow up, they become disciplinarians, and hence it is defined in their culture to be disciplinarians. So, but when you come to America, you will have a liberal kind of atmosphere where you don't find such a kind of disciplinary activity when the child reaches adolescent. You should use the names of the book in an innovative way. See, this one question is there, rather than just giving a very bland answer, cultural relativism, only this. You can actually mix and match, and you can give wonderful answers using these techniques of incorporating different streams of views. And this first page is over, but coming to the second page, now you have to address human rights. So, because human rights is part of the question, so you can actually use the definition of human rights as defined by United Nations Organization's Convention on 1948 on Human Rights. So every human being born in this world has a particular right, and you can actually include our fundamental right. You can say that Indians or our fundamental rights also you can use. You can use this is what this is innovation. You can whether to use all these articles in anthropology paper, it does not matter. Rather, you should use innovation. You should say fundamental rights, human rights. You have to define. You have to say the same way Indians have a set of fundamental rights from Article 14, 13 to 37 or 36 or 35. So you should be innovative. You should take chances, and this you have defined. But now comes the point. Now comes the problem. So conflict. So now the conflict between human rights and cultural relativism. What is that conflict means? You should understand. If I say that your culture is unique, you have a particular set of views based on the history, and hence it is relative. In relative terms, no culture is above and below. If I have that argument that immediately gives rise to one fact. For example, in a country like Africa or in a country like Myanmar, a set of population are being, you would have seen in papers, a set of population, their rights being violated based on the ethnicity of the population. Rohingya crisis you would have seen. In Africa, there are so many tribes where, for example, Rwanda, Uganda, and many countries where Hutus and Tutsis in Rwanda, they had clashes among themselves. But if you take the point of view of cultural relativism, when you look at these countries from, for example, Europe, America, or India, when you look at them and say that these are region specific or culture specific problems, and they are unique in their culture, and hence has to be accepted according to Frank Boas. If you put that argument, then there comes a conflict between human rights, because population, like for example, Rohingyas are being taken to task for a huge thing, and hence you should show this in this topic. You should show, or in this fifth point, you should show the conflict between cultural relativism and Rohingyas. Or you can take the example of maybe the Naga tribes. Naga tribes. You can say that Naga tribes used to have head hunting, right? Head hunting was there, but it was said that it is unique. So, according to cultural relativism, the culture of Nagas and the because they primarily are a tribe which thrived on, if you know, based on cultural or tribal conflicts was very high, and they were hunting gathering tribe, and hence the conflict, as in Amazon tribe, Yamanamo. The same way in Naga tribe, the conflict was more, and hence cultural relativism. You should see the historical way in which they have developed, and hence head hunting should be allowed. That, if you say, that is actually conflicting with human rights. So when you put this example and show the conflict between human rights and cultural relativism, it will look good. Sixth point is the way forward. So now you should say way forward, or you can say conclusion, or whatever word you want to use. Here you should say cultural relativism is important. Cultural relativism is important, but there are some universal human rights values. Universal human rights. For example, right to life, Article 21. Article 21. If you right to life, this is universal, right? The life of a person is very, very important. You cannot take the life of a person just by saying that it is our culture, and hence cultural relatively seeing our culture, you should not judge the actions which we are taking on the ground. That is not an argument which is valid, and hence cultural relativism as a concept is very important for analyzing each culture's specificity or each culture's uniqueness and grandeur. That is one point. But when it comes to universal human rights, you should say that this cultural relativism is no way in the way of stopping or prevention of human rights violations, which happens across the world. So you have to conclude. So see this, it is not just writing only cultural relativism or not only human rights. You have to divide. In this, you are bringing in the Indian Constitution, you are bringing in UN Constitution of 1948 human rights. You are bringing in an example of Nagas and head hunting, which is from a second paper. You are bringing in an example of Ruth Benedict's book, Chrysanthemum and Sword. And this will be a wonderful mixture which gives you a very good mark. And hopefully you would write answers with this structure. So we'll go to the next question.